Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Precious Metal Summit Conference here in Zurich. And now we move to a really interesting company, which will be one day definitely a mine with a lot of metals, because we talk about gold, copper, palladium, platinum, nickel, cobalt. So there's really a lot going on. Polymetallic mines, and Terence Lynch is here with us, the CEO. Hey.
Well, it's great to see you again.
Great to see you.
Good to
Long
be back.
time.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Always fun to get back over to Switzerland.
Yeah, perfect. A lot happened since we last spoke. I think it's approximately a year ago. So what happened?
Well, I guess a number of things. Well, obviously, we raised about $50 million in February of last year, so we're fully funded, which is great. And we've taken our land package from 46 square kilometers to 331, so 6 times. And the reason for that was because we made such an amazing discovery, right? We've blown up the Lion Zone. Analysts say it's somewhere between 8 to 13 million tons, 5 to 7% copper equivalent. It's like super rich over this nice nickel ore body that we had as well. So it transformed our understanding from being a normal nickel sulfide to being an orthomagmatic discovery, which is literally the best mines you can find in the history of the world. There's only 20 of them in the history of the world. They're literally the world's biggest and most profitable mines. Norilsk is obviously the granddaddy, but Voisey's Bay, Marinsky's Reef, Sakatti. So we've got one of those, and now we're developing it, right? So it's been a pretty exciting summer in terms of drilling. We're in the midst of a 100,000-meter drill program.
That's a lot.
About at 20,000 into it now, and then we're reporting on that. And then we've got about another 25,000 will get done before Christmas. So it's pretty much, we just did a news release last week on some assays that are out. So another 3 or 4 weeks, we'll have more assays out every 3 or 4 weeks.
That's like 5 meters with 11.9% copper. Gee, that's a lot.
How crazy is that, right?
Yeah.
So 16.43% copper equivalent. Yeah. So, the Lion Zone's so amazingly rich, and, grade is your friend, right?
Oh, yeah, always.
And so this is going to be right now, it's going to be, as you said, going to become a mine. We believe that too. It's the question of how big is it going to be? Is it going to be a little mine? Is it going to be a big mine? Is it going to be a world-class mine? We're betting it's going to be a world-class mine, but this is what we were given the $50 million to prove. And so that's sort of what we're trying to do.
That makes sense, absolutely. So could you, in that sense, do you think you can sequence the stages a little bit, or do you have to decide, no, we make that, let's say, a mid-size or really a world-class size mine? That means maybe you need to invest, I don't know, $1 or $2 billion.
So I think that's a good question. I think because the Lion Zone's so rich, we could definitely build like a $300 million project and pay for itself in 1 year. And then all of a sudden you got that cash flow to finance exploration, do whatever. One of the reasons why we picked up all that land was we believe this is going to be a district. So, even in Norilsk or Marinsky's Reef or Sakatti, these are multiple mines come together. So like Sudbury's 33 mines. So we expect this to be huge. So we picked up this land package because we think there's going to be, we've identified 8 super targets. We own 7 of them now. So I suspect this is going to be a full district play. So you don't want to be out of something like that too soon. You want to, if you can, get up in production, find the more, just keep on growing through the production. So it's exciting for sure. So we're really sort of stoked about what we've been able to accomplish.
Super. As you have that many metals in the ground, first thing. Second thing is, of course, all those metals are in high demand or even in a deficit. So your project must be for somebody like a Glencore or BHP of real interest.
Yeah, we've had pretty much every major has talked to us, and we're talking to them, and we're open communication. The good news, because we're well financed, it's too early, for us to sell at this point, because we don't know what we have. Honestly, you don't know how big it's going to be, and so I think we all want to sort of figure out how big it's going to be, and I think that the neat part about having a polymetallic is that it gives you a lot of financing flexibility, right? Because it's like we got 45% copper, and it's like 4% copper. Wow, that's crazy. But we've also got multiple grams of platinum and palladium. We've got grams of gold and silver. So it's like we're 55% precious metals. So any of those off takes could also be done. So there's a lot of different financing techniques we could use. And it's also, as you say, makes it more attractive to the commercial trading firms because it's like multiple minerals that they can use. And of course, they're all dying for concentrate these days. So it's nice to be the new kid on the block.
That's for sure. But your primary metal, or let's say your primary focus is on nickel, or do you say
copper? Copper. Yeah. Just because the Lion Zone is 45% copper and 55% precious metals, 20% platinum, 20% palladium, 10 gold, 5 silver. Now it's over a nickel base, and at some point the nickel will be valuable. And the cool thing about our nickel is that it's going to be the lowest price nickel in the world in terms of lifting, right? So whatever price nickel is at, we're going to make money. So that not anybody can say that. Whereas if you have a primary nickel mine, and that's it, you got to make it all go on nickel. Nickel is still, as you know, nickel fickle, right? It can go up, it can come down, so it's hard to get through the cycle. The best nickel mines, like Norilsk, basically because of the platinum, the palladium, the gold that they have, and the copper, they're the lowest cost guys on the planet. That's what we'll be, So that's where you want to be on the nickel, I think, and that's where we're at.
Okay. Would you consider, let's say, a strategic partner next year? Is that something where you would say, yeah, that could be of interest for us?
You know what? At some point, I think that'll be the way to go. Will it happen next year? I think for us, what we'd like to do is push it as far as we can financially ourselves with the discovery process, because the more tons we can put in the ground and the more we can de-risk it, like the metallurgy, we're going to have the full met study will be out in January. That makes it much more attractive for the majors. And of course, what we want to do is really create like an auction-like environment so that we get them to the table. Because if once you do the first deal, you're sort of off the auction map. Yeah. So you want to sort of try and be a free agent as long as possible.
Okay, super. How do you see all your metals in the ground now market-wise? Where do you see that going in the light of, let's say, higher defense activity, more nuclear power, more shift to electromobiles, solar power, etc.?
Yeah, so I would say I'm most bullish about copper. I mean, some people are thinking, well, copper is doctor economy and we're likely to have a recession, so shouldn't copper be impacted? And I'd say 9 times out of 10 you're right, but this is the time you're wrong, because AI has changed the world, and it's like the copper demands that has not really been fully rationalized, to the thinking. And then if you look at this copper, it's been mostly negative supply shocks, right? Whether it be Grasberg or Panama or even Anglo, reducing its guidance. So it's like copper's going to probably be in a deficit next year. So I'm expecting, a copper rip like we had for gold and silver, so, that's likely to come. And that's what's really needed to really empower the full exploration sort of push. I think platinum and palladium are going to be awesome. They were in survival mode, right? And have just crawled out. Yes. They're not still bullish yet. You wouldn't build a platinum palladium mine right now at the prices you need them. And it used to be platinum palladium would trade at the same price as gold. Now there's just a fraction. So, we got big chunks of platinum. Like, we're probably the best platinum palladium story on the planet that nobody knows about, because it's been lost in the copper discovery. But we probably have like a third of an ounce of platinum palladium per ton. It's crazy.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. So I think we're super bullish on those commodities. I think that'll be nice. And of course, I think, is gold and silver pulling back a little bit here? Yeah, but I think that's just a normal pullback. Maybe gold pulls back.
We just erased the pullback. We are going to 50.
Yeah,
it's done already.
Well, you know what? Every time I think there's going to be a pullback, then it surges forward. So I think I'm believing gold's going to 5,000 anyway.
Next year, definitely.
Yeah, I believe.
That's for sure. Yeah, I see the same way. Absolutely. Next year, what are the 2 most important goals you want to achieve?
I would say, right now we probably, people would perceive us as having roughly 20 million tons in the ground. I'd like to at least double that, so that would be huge. And I think that's number 1. Second thing, we'd definitely like to get listed in the New York Stock Exchange. That could happen to the end of this year.
Well,
we really want to get to bigger exchanges. We got a bigger story to tell the world, and we need more investors to get intrigued with the story. We should be trading much higher, but partly we're in Canada. It's a bit of a struggling market. I think getting to New York will be a big move for us. So those would be the 2 big goals. Lots more resources in the ground and a better capital market.
Super, perfect. Last question, what is now cash in the bank and who are your largest shareholders?
So end of last quarter, over 40 million in the bank.
Good.
And our largest shareholders, Robert Friedland, Rob McEwen, Gina Reinhardt. The biggest shareholder right now is myself and my family. And over the last 2 years, we put in a fresh $5 million, second biggest investor. Wow. So our top 8 investors own about 50%, and they've all written checks over the last 2 years. I think that's really compelling. You want to go and invest where the shareholders are continuing to write checks, because that means they still believe, and it's still a great investment, and it really is.
So that's family-owned and believer-owned.
Exactly.
I love that. Super.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you very much. We wish you well, because really the world needs your metals, that's for sure.
Indeed.
And you have all the metals which are really required. AI,
100%.
transformation, power, nuclear power, e-mobility. It doesn't matter. You can provide everything.
We can.
Super.
We can. All right. Good seeing you.
Let's do it. Thanks you very
again.
much.
Cheers now. See you now.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was Terence Lynch, the CEO of Polymetallic Mines. And you heard it. They have all the metals which are really required, and really big things are going on. Metallurgical study comes out, and really a lot more drill results. And honestly, if they can double or triple what they have so far, that looks really fantastic. And I could believe that there are already a lot of the eyes of the big guys on them. So really make sure you check out this wonderful company. Thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Switzerland, from Precious Metal Summit.